And Coach, the defense shut them down, and you capitalized on the mistakes. But the biggest thing I would have to say right now is Telchik's kicking and Ward's field goal kicking game.
Well, when we came into this ball game, we knew it was going to be a tough defensive day, and we're going to count on our kicking. We were able to take advantage of the one big mistake they made in the kicking game and scored. That's all there's been. Great defense.
Let's look at the other side now, Fred, and play devil's advocate for a second. Now, bad weather like this, you'd think ball control's the key. You guys don't have any first downs other than the touchdown.
That's right, and they're entrenched along that front. Ball handling is a little suspect, and we're going to have to go right at them. We're going to get more punching it out and running. We can't just keep winging it.
Before you go, let me ask you this. Now, this is an old carpet, 1976. You said the footing is atrocious. Do you make them all go to rain cleats now, the longer cleats?
What they ought to do is go to super turf.
All right, Fred, thank you very much. All right. Well, he didn't answer the question, but it sounds good to me. We'll be back with today's halftime activities after this message and a word from our local stations.
I see you enjoy the finer things in life.
Why, yes.
Then you'll enjoy today's Chevrolet Celebrity Eurosport.
Come on in, get the feel. Enjoyment waits at the wheel as the road comes alive.
Special sport suspension, Euro styling, available new multi-port fuel-injected V6 power. Celebrity Eurosport.
If this is today's Chevrolet,
Enjoy.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Live it.
Chevy.
Tomorrow on Ripley's, an exciting new hope for the sightless. Plus, a jet age art form, believe it or not. Then, in-laws.
She's my sister-in-law. I'm sorry about that.
Outlaws. Everyone's gunning for Hardcastle and McCormick. Then,
Gabe is here.
the pain of being apart.
You hurt me.
The fear of being too close.
One night is all I can handle right now.
Single bars, single women. All starting tomorrow at 7, 6 Central.
still showing PVC activity.
St. David's Emergency Department, open 24 hours.
Move them into the crash room, give them another bolus of lidocaine and a nitroglycerin.
For major or minor problems. Personal care from dedicated professionals.
Let's go ahead and start a lidocaine drip at 2 milligrams a minute. Do an EKG.
Emergency trained physicians. Or your own doctor.
Thanks. I'll go talk to the family. He looks good. You can go in and see him now.
St. David's Emergency Department.
In the beginning, choosing the right bank didn't seem that important. You just wrote the orders.
12 cases. Got them right here.
But as your business grew, so did the complexity.
60 cases. Let me check the computer.
And while you were outgrowing, maybe you outgrew your old bank's financing ability.
120 cases? Not until we get the money for that new warehouse.
Now's the time to talk to First City, because even if you didn't use us then, you could sure use us now. First City, reaching further, doing more.
Action News Evening Report. We've got the people, we've got the news.
The Prudential Halftime Report is being sponsored by Prudential. For life, health, auto, home, get a piece of the rock. Prudential Insurance.
Again, we'll be here to bring you scores and highlights throughout halftime, starting with the World Series. In the fourth game of the World Series today in Detroit, the Tigers matched up against San Diego. Jack Morris against Eric Shao, and once again, Shao had trouble with the long ball as he has throughout postseason. First inning, Lou Whitaker got on base on what was called an error at second base by Alan Wiggins as his throw pulled Garvey off the bag. Moments later, Shao delivered a fastball to Alan Trammell, and Trammell put it in the upper deck. The left field seats, well, actually it went into the lower deck in Tiger Stadium, but good enough to give the Tigers a 2-0 first inning lead. One of the things which has characterized them throughout postseason, the early inning explosiveness, which gives their pitchers a chance to pitch relaxed. Jack Morris did, as he threw a minimum of pitches throughout the ball game, 66 strikes, only 23 balls. One of the strikes, however, was deposited into the right field seats in the top of the second inning by Terry Kennedy, and that narrowed the Tiger lead at the time to 2-1. It was the only severe blemish on Morris's record all day, though. And in the bottom of the third, with Whitaker again on base, Trammell again delivered against Shao. The 7th home run Eric Shao has surrendered in 3 postseason pitching appearances. That one made it 4-1 Tigers. Morris went on to an easy 4-2 victory, his 3rd consecutive win in postseason, and the Tigers now with a 3-1 lead in the World Series need only one more win to wrap it up. So that we can bring you a look at both the Texas and Oklahoma bands, we will have to be as selective and rapid as possible with our scores. So right now, third-ranked Washington is at Stanford, and the Huskies took an early lead in that ball game. Right now, Washington still leading in the ball game, 27-3 at halftime. Wyoming at fifth-ranked Brigham Young University, and BYU's leading only 21-20 at halftime. 33-23, Nebraska beat Missouri today. Mark Munford, a linebacker, 16 tackles, 2 interceptions, one of them a 57-yard touchdown return. SMU survived a Baylor threat, 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes to win it, 24-20. Ohio State fell behind Illinois 24-0 early. It's now 24-21 at halftime. West Virginia beat Syracuse only the second time in 8 years, and the Mountaineers are 5-1 as they get ready for BC and Penn State. Georgia held off a Mississippi upset threat and beat Mississippi 18-12 in Athens. Kentucky at Mississippi State, Jerry Claiborne's team still unbeaten as they beat the Maroons 17-13 today. Florida making a nice comeback under Galen Hall. 43-30 winners over Tennessee at Tennessee. 2 Florida rushers over 100 yards in the game. Alabama, and Ray Perkins really needed this one, a 6-0 victory, a shutout in Tuscaloosa of Penn State, and that was a victory, as I mentioned, that Perkins really desperately needed. South Carolina beat Pittsburgh today 45-21. South Carolina still unbeaten under Joe Morrison, their best start since 1928. So we will be back with a little bit more in the way of scores and a comment from Bino and a great feature. Right now, we'll take you back for the Texas Band.
With our score at halftime, Texas Longhorns 10 over the number 2 team in the country, Oklahoma, 0. We now join the University of Texas Band. Dr. Glenn Richter, director. Here's one you'll recognize. The Yellow Rose of Texas. University of Texas Longhorn Band. Dr. Richter conducting at halftime with a 10-0 lead for the Texas football team. The rain continues to come, go away briefly, and then come again. And each time it's come again, it's been harder.
I remember hearing somebody.
Jim Lampley again in our studio in New York. There are problems in college football, and some would contend that they get more than their share of media attention. But each year we find some stories which seem to make the entire enterprise worthwhile. We found one. This year it's in Colorado Springs, Colorado. For the Tigers of Division III Colorado College, still seeking their first victory of the season, it's another day of practice. For halfback Tom Southall, the daily effort to refine his unusual skills. Things are a little bit harder for Tom. He was born with one arm fewer than most of the rest of us. But the senior captain has never let this disadvantage affect him on a football field. He's been a starter in the Tigers' single wing attack for each of the past 2 years. This year, he is Colorado College's leading rusher, and he credits his remarkable success to his family.
A lot of support and love from the family. There's 8 kids in my family, so there was a lot of support to go around, and they just, didn't treat me special or nothing. So just, I was playing in the backyard, football games and everything, and I grew up watching my older brother play football, so it seemed natural that I would just, as soon as I got old enough, that I'd start playing.
Tom Southall led Division III in kickoff returns 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he led the division in punt returns. He's only 5 feet 6 inches tall. He has only one arm, but opponents have learned how elusive and effective he can be.
At first, they didn't want to hit me. They were afraid they might get hurt or something, but I broke a couple long runs, and they realized the hard way that if they didn't hit me, they'd get some points scored against them.
Recruiting and academic improprieties in big-time college football sometimes leave us with a bitter taste in our mouths. It takes only a moment's reflection on the story of a man like Tom Southall to wipe away that bitter taste. Right now, at halftime, Colorado College may have a chance for its first win of the year. They lead 10-0 over Trinity College of Texas. The touchdown in the game was scored by Tom Southall. Now for more from Bino Cook. And Bino, in pregame we spoke about the two-point play, its genesis, the role it played in the Texas OU game in 1958. But I don't think that the people in the Rules Committee who put it in that year could have looked down the road and seen what a huge effect it would have on the game.
Yes, the Texas-Oklahoma game, Jim, was the first big game decided by the two-point play. The people who wanted the two-point play were Wallace Wade, Bud Wilkinson, and Davy Nelson. Davy Nelson, the athletic director at Delaware, really cares about football and the rules. Now, the idea was putting the ball on the 5-yard line. Somebody said, put it on the 3, and somebody said, my God, Woody Hayes will score each time. The first 2 years, they tried the two-point play 40% of the time, the teams. They thought it was going to be easy. Now it's about 10% of the time. But it did change football, especially in the Southeast, because if the Southeastern Conference teams got a 7-0 lead, they would sit on it, punt on 3rd down. You can't do that anymore. It made the game more interesting.
Hard to imagine the game without it at this point, isn't it?
A lot of games have been decided. Texas, Arkansas, the OSU-Tennessee game in 1959. OSU went for 2. Yes, a lot of games.
All right, thanks a lot, Bino. We're going to take you back to Dallas now, hopefully for a look at the Oklahoma band, immediately following these upcoming messages.